Hello, hello. Welcome to another Monday Mastermind. We've got an exciting talk here today. And hey, if you've never been on here before, we're Grow Global, and we like to help agents from all over the country grow and build their real estate business, regardless of what real estate company you're with. And you can go to our website, whygrowglobal.com. And in that website has lots of resources for you to help see some of our old video or old Zooms that we've done and old trainings and get some great information there. And also resources for how to grow your business. So today, we had a topic that came up about, hey, always agents are always wondering, how do I build my business? How do I get more deals? How do I find buyers and sellers? And Stephanie Gilezan is an expert at making things happen, getting deals, finding them from anywhere and everywhere. And today she's going to be talking about how to add more and more deal to your business every month. Well, I mean, doesn't everybody want to do that? One more deal can make a huge difference in somebody's business. So no one better to do that than our own Stephanie Gilezan. So Stephanie, let us know how we're going to be able to do this. Add one more deal to our business here.
As I was coming up with this list, because 26 years in the business, I have come up with some crazy stuff to land deals. I'm not kidding. Some of it, I can't even remember how I landed the deal, but man,
Right?
do I have phenomenal stories that go along with it. But there are so many creative ways. When an agent calls me up or they sit around and they say, "Oh my God, I'm so slow. I am not busy at all." I just can't understand it because I have always found a way to have something to do, to be in a place and to land business from it. And I think it's because I have no fear of rejection. I just don't. Everywhere I go, I will have I will take the opportunity to listen, to observe of what's around me, and to easily turn around and go, wait, were you talking about real estate? Wait, and throw my 2 cents in. And that's what you have to be when you want to be successful. Everybody's like, how do you make how do you do this? How do you do that? How are you top 30 under 30 years of age? Because I am vocal. And that's number one, because you're vocal. If you're sitting here with nothing to do this month, you're not vocal enough. Go have lunch somewhere. Don't sit at a table with somebody you know. I want you to go have lunch and sit at the bar. You don't need to order an alcoholic beverage, but I want you to sit at the bar and I want you to have a conversation with somebody that you don't know and ask them, so tell me what you do for you all. When I was 21 years old and I got into this business, I didn't have any friends that could purchase anything. Most of them were still in college. Heck, I couldn't even do anything, right? And that's what I would do is I would show up and be at places. I used Starbucks. I always went to this one restaurant called Max and Irma's. For whatever reason, these people would flock in there for lunch. And I would sit up at that bar and I'd move around and I would have conversation. And I would always sit next to the very mature people. I'm not going to say old, I'm going to say mature because I wanted to know the mature people. And I would also drive around and I would observe parking lots. I was the type of agent that I wanted a lot of business all at one time. So, how do you get a lot of business all at one time? Well, you got to go seek those types of opportunities. So, maybe it's new construction, maybe it's a builder, maybe it's a developer, right? So, drive around. If you have nothing to do and you are sitting there complaining that you are slow, get in the car, get and drive around and look for parking lots with construction vehicles inside and go inside and have conversations with those people. You will be amazed and surprised at how many people will have a conversation with you and will give you information. I didn't build my business because I was the smartest agent. I didn't know anything. I built my business because I had the balls to ask for it. That's the truth. And I still do it today. I still do the exact. My husband gets so mad at me. We get in an Uber and this is true, some of you on this call might have ridden with me. There is never a time I don't get out of an Uber where I don't know who that person is, what they truly do, and what they really want to be in life. That's how well I get to know them. I don't care if the ride's 8 minutes or an hour. But I've talked a lot of those people into real estate, and they're actually at EXP because of it, right? I have conversation with people. It's networking. And so that's going to be number one. And you all aren't doing enough of it because this whole entire generation, I tell my kids this, everybody has relied on social, everybody's relied on text, everyone's gotten out of the conversation. The conversation is where the business is. Okay? Now, I've got an entire list that I'm going to put up here. There's a lot of stuff not on this list that I'm just going to throw at you because there's so many ways to get business. It's sick. There's so many ways. You all are going to be sitting here, and if you come up with something, do it, throw it out, put it in the chat, unmute your mic and throw it out because there is nothing wrong with anything that you're going to say because you can pick up business from anywhere. Still to this day, I'll look out. For those of you, I have an office, but I also work from home a lot. And still to this day, I will look out my front window as I work here. And if I see somebody driving slow, literally, if I see somebody driving slow, I get up, I run outside, and I go, "Can I help you?" I'm not kidding. You all, the people, they are like, "Stephanie is nuts."
Yeah.
No, Stephanie's wealthy for a reason. True story, right? Somebody asked me a minute ago for 20K. That's how you get 20K. Wave them down.
That's right. You
That's
know, it's funny
exactly
you
right,
say
Bob.
it's funny you say that because when I was in new construction, we had golf carts in the community, and when
Yeah.
somebody drove by the model home and didn't stop, we jumped in the golf cart and went and chased them down.
I'm telling you, you guys listen. These people, it was 2 weeks ago. That day, I was going to be leaving in 2 hours for the airport. And I'm sitting here at my desk at the computer doing a Zoom call. I think I was probably a growth call, attracting somebody. And I'm looking, and there's these two people walking across the street on a vacant lot. And I'm like, man, I got to get this growth call over with because I got to go see what these people are up to. And literally, get the growth call over with, go put my shoes on, run right out that front door, walk over there, go, hi, can I help you? Can I help you? And they were like, hi, yeah, we're looking at the neighborhood. Well, I happen to, be the developer. I did all this. I live right there. Here's the thing. I'm not selling them anything in this development. I'm not. But you know what I'm doing? I'm building them a house in my other development across the river because that's their price point.
Mhm.
This isn't, that is. And if I hadn't have walked out my front door and went, hey, hey, they wouldn't be my client. And so that's number one is look at your surroundings and don't be scared to put yourself in it. Just put yourself in it. I mean, that's just number one. People say, Stephanie, you make it look so easy. Well, because it's really not that hard, is it? I could sell each and every one of you something on this call if I spend 10 minutes with you. Okay? So, all right, let me do a screen share and we're going to
Here's
dive
my
in.
wallet, just whatever. See, before that.
Yeah.
Here's my wallet. Here's my Apple Pay. Go. Not that much, because how
Oh
much
my
I
goodness.
believe in you. If she says good, I'm all in.
You're in it. You're in it to win it. We're all
am.
in it. All right. Now, and I'll share this doc at the end of this, okay? This is the One More Sale Agent Playbook. All right. Now, have you all ever paid attention to failed contracts in your market? Has anybody ever paid attention to the ones that fail? See, I love the failures. And here's why I love the failures. Because I'm excellent at fixing things. Someone a long time ago I should have wore that today. They bought me a shirt and right across its chest it says The Fixer.
Mhm.
One of my clients bought that. So I was actually known and still to this day known in my market as The Fixer. And so you're like, well, how do I pay attention to failed contracts? Well, you can pay attention to, those that fall off the market, deal falls through. You can find out a whole lot from title companies. Title companies is who keeps me informed. They'll call me up and they like, Stephanie, you'd be perfect for this. So network with title companies. If you are truly a problem solver and you are excellent, then let people know that you can do it and make sure that you're telling them this. I got 3, 4 deals in the month of May from title companies because they're problems. Nobody else can get them done. I get problems from other agents. I actually visited a piece of land last week because the agent that's supposed to end up with the listing is just not sure what to do with it. But she's going to call Stephanie Gilezan, the fixer, who knows what to do with it. Okay? And so let people understand and be known for that. Not everything is fun and happy. I love the trouble. Because very few people will put up with the trouble, but that's when you make the big bucks because you can charge big money for trouble. The bankruptcy attorneys, they love me. The divorce, all of that stuff, failed deals. That is one of the things that you want to make sure of. Go find the failed sales. Now, think about that. Who in the heck is out there waving their hand going, I want the failed deals. Bring me all the failed deals. Nobody. Now, here's something that I truly did a long time ago. I don't do this anymore. I mean, I can. A lot of this I don't do anymore, you all. I don't have to. But targeting the Airbnb burnout/rentals. There is so much rental Airbnb short-term burnout. There's so many. Do you know that you can look at these tools, AirDNA and RankBreeze, and you can even look at Airbnb.com and you can see how often things are getting rented out. So look at your market and see, are these really getting rented out? Or should you make a call to the property owner and say, look, I see that, at one point you had pretty good success with 123 Main Street. But man, you went from renting this thing out 157 days a year to about 33 days a year. I think it's time we dump this one and go find you something that's going to make you more money. Let's get it listed. Target those. Here's another thing that I didn't list on here, but I want you to write it down. I didn't write everything down because you need to do some work in order to retain it. When you write it, you retain it, right? Find the rentals that have the citations. Find the rentals that have the citations. I taught a class on Grow Global maybe a year or two ago where we talked about the vacant and abandoned properties or the code enforcement citations where, a gutter might be falling off or the grass got too high. Look up how your city or your town posts citations for little minor things of people property condition. Find out how that is and look at those. There's tons of them. So this morning I got on Metro Louisville. There's over 4,000 citations right now in Louisville, where my market is, of people who need to do something to their property in order to get it back in regulation. So, years ago, I would put out these postcards to those people. And I would literally say to them, because a lot of them were rental properties, a lot of them people lived in and they were just, maybe they couldn't afford to take care of them, or maybe they were elderly, right? Whatever the case might be. But the ones that I knew were rental, because you could look up and see that they weren't owner occupied, I would send out a postcard marketing to them that they weren't maintaining their property and maybe it was time for them to sell. I wasn't calling them a slumlord, but I kind of was calling them a slumlord. I met one of my biggest clients by doing that. And still to this day, she's one of my biggest clients. I've sold over 400 properties for her.
Wow.
And she is one of my biggest fans because she was so mad at me when she got that postcard that she called and ripped me a new one. And I loved every minute of it. And you know what she loved about me is that I loved every minute of it. And I still came and saw her. I didn't cry about it. I stood right up to her and I said, "Well, you're the one, don't get mad at me. You're the one with shitty property." Okay? Fun story.
Love it.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, now for all you digital people, because digital age, digital age, digital age. I act like I'm ancient. I'm not ancient, but I'm starting to feel ancient because I've been in this business 26 years. And, that's a long time to be in real estate, I feel like anymore, because my goodness, things have changed so much. But this is something I don't do, but I've seen it done so well, and I know it works. And so you need to find out who does this really well, and you need to master this because it's micro niche digital farming. All right. You can do this on KV Core. I'm sure you can do this on other, I don't know how. You're going to have to find it out. Part of why I'm good is because I go dig and hunt and figure out how to do things. Okay. So what you do here is you choose a high turnover micro market. Okay. Like, for example, one specific street or one specific condominium complex or one specific development, somewhere where there's constant turnover, constant turnover. All right. And you target that because the likelihood, I mean, we have these pockets. Everybody's got these pockets. Every city has these pockets. There's so many of them. You can probably look at your MLS and it's going to tell you average, turnover rates and different things. Heck, you could probably ask Chat GPT. I know I can ask Perplexity and it's going to tell me. Okay. But you go ahead and do Facebook ads to target people that are living in those areas, in that geographic area. Because those people are the ones that are going to be looking for an agent more quickly than the average person that stays in their home 7 years. I think that's still the average. So they're doing this, people are doing this very, 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 very successfully. I'm not, but you can. Now, this one I learned one of the top agents at EXP. This is awesome, and actually I saw this 2 years ago, and it is amazing. But on their signage, they have, instead of their name writer, they have a text to tour. You can do this through KV Core. You can do it through Follow Up Boss. You can do this through anything. But basically, you text to a certain number, and immediately a private video walkthrough tour goes right to the client. And then at the end of that video is the agent having a just them. It's the actual agent giving them some information about it. How cool is that?
I like that.
How cool is that? I mean, it's really cool. So, we all do video tours. We put them on YouTube, we do this, but why not just do that for everybody? Because you can also do that on your website. You can advertise that in more than one place than just the sign. But this is why I like this idea. How many of you all actually get calls off signs anymore? You don't. They see the sign and then they go to Zillow. So here's what here's what he loved about this is that they actually did do this because they were getting a video walkthrough. And when they texted, guess what he got? Their information. So he was able to reach out to them. And so this brought his sign traffic back to what it used to be before the digital era even became a thing. So that's what I loved about it. All right. Now, this is back in the day. I haven't done things like this in so long, but you all are so many people in the past. What inventory's been tight. Maybe inventory's getting much more now. There's not as many buyers fighting for things. But creating the information. How many on this call, and be honest, anybody on this call door knock? Does anybody do that anymore? Is that even a thing? No?
I do for open houses.
Does it work?
I think it does. I'm making connections and stuff, but I can't say I always get a listing or something from it. Not right away. No.
Right.
No,
But at least
I do
you're
it for open
connecting.
houses too.
Melvin?
Yeah, on a new listing, I do it. It drives traffic to the open house.
Exactly. Exactly. Here's what I would always do. If I got a listing or if I was going to hold that open, I would walk around to at least that street and even the houses that backed up to it. And I would knock on the door and I would say, "Hi, I'm Stephanie Gilezan. I listed the property, that's right next door or that you back up to. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to choose your neighbor. Do you have a list of 10 friends that you would like to see that live here, that you would want to live here?" Do you know how many people they would give me? They would give me so many names and numbers of their friends. Now, would they really move into there? No. But those were leads that I could say, "Hey, Nancy, Sarah Jackson on Sutherland Farm Road said that you might be interested in moving into her neighborhood. Is that something that's on your radar?" "Well, not right now, but maybe in 3 or 4 months." Well, let me tell you, you see what I'm saying? It was such an easy thing to do. And so a lot of times when people are knocking on doors, you're introducing yourself, you're saying whatever. I did all that, but then I asked for 10 names of friends that they would recommend that I call. It worked. Now, also doing the same thing with sellers, because by the time you collect that many buyers, you can then, "I just listed X and I only have this one listed, but I have now collected this many buyers that are considering moving to your neighborhood if there was something else to buy." Simple, simple, simple. None of this is reinvention. This is just duplication, rip off and duplication, right? Okay, now here's something that I absolutely love, and I think it's great, and I think that the YouTubers, if there is any on the call, um, I think that this is something that has probably gained more traction for them than anything else. Um, and this is what people are interested in. And I've asked this question. I don't do this, but actually creating a weekly YouTube or Reels series of what does 500K get you, or what does 300K get you? Look at the median in your market. Look at what is that most popular price point. Okay? So everybody's market's going to be different, you all. Melvin Melvin could not do "what does 500K get you" in Los Angeles, because he would not, that wouldn't work, okay? So you've got to look at your market and do what makes sense. Post that up. We have got agents in Indianapolis. We've got agents in and around, they're everywhere. They are killing it on social media because this is exactly what they're doing. A weekly series with Reels or YouTubes on what does X get them in their market. So you could do all different neighborhoods. And
Hey,
people are tuning in, they love it. So one of the #1 agents at EXP as far as Instagram followers, this is how she got there. This is her secret. TikTok, one of the #1 real estate TikTok. This is how they got there. This is their secret. I don't do this, you all. I actually, when Rob said, will you please do this? Will you please do this? I didn't want to go old school and just give you what I do. I actually went out and did some work for you guys so that we brought some good stuff today. Okay. So
love it.
this right here is awesome. This is what I wish, back in the day, this is what I wish we all could have done. So if you're utilizing social, put value out there. This is what you do. Encourage them and give them the information. They will tune in because they're nosy. Even if they're not in the market to buy, they will tune in. I love it.
Hey, Stephanie, can I say something real quick?
Please.
So on what does 500K get you in your area? So I know an agent, he's actually in Canada, but he crushes at doing that. But what he does is says, hey, this is what $35,000 will get you in your market. And then as the videos go on, people are like, what the hell? 35K? And then they reach out to him. He crushes with seller leads and buyer leads. And then he'll explain to them, oh, that's the down payment.
Ah.
And he gets a lot of traffic that way instead of saying, this is what 500,000 gets you. Here's what 15,000 will get you. And it's just your down payment.
There you go. All kinds of ways to do it, you all, but it does get the conversation going, And again, people are tuning in because you're bringing them value and they're just nosy. They're nosy, but they're going to come to the person that is giving them value each and every time. So it's pretty cool. Now, for those that do really know me, this is how I built my business right here. #1 way, permit prospecting. I watched every permit pull, everything that I still do this today. I'm a nosy person. See, I'm a developer myself, so I pay attention to who's doing what, who's got what happening on. If you do not know how to look up permits in your town, city, you better go call somebody and figure it out, because this is what you need to be looking at. Again, nobody has time to sit around and cry and whine about not being busy, because there are so many ways to keep yourself busy. And each of these things will make you money. But don't just look for the building permits and the development permits. Look for the remodel permits too. Because why can't you pick up the phone and say, "Hi, Alex, I see that you're doing a kitchen remodel on your property located at da da da. Are you doing that because you're interested in selling?" Because, I've always had buyers, clients interested in your street. I mean, ask the question, you all. Just ask the question. Same with the bath, same with any of that. Now, for me, I was always paying attention to, because in the permit portal, you should also see the application portal for zoning. So like subdivisions going in, you can be watching that. You can be going to planning and zoning meetings to hear what's going on. You could be there introducing yourself, networking, with developers and builders. But you can literally sit on your butt at a computer and get all kinds of free information, because permit prospecting is free. You just have to know how to look it up, and then you just pick up the phone and call and ask for the business. It's so simple, so simple. And you'd be surprised at how many people want to know that after they do that bathroom remodel, I wonder what the house is going to be worth. Get them excited. Get them excited. Well, yeah, we're doing our kitchen remodel. Well, you know what? When is it going to be done? Okay, how about I come by and let's see what it's worth? Get people excited. I sell stuff to people all the time that weren't supposed to buy. All the time. Just get them excited about it. You got to give people a reason. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Everybody knows how to leverage buyer demand as lead bait. I know that things are slowing down a little bit, but again, that goes back to, these people that are doing remodels. This goes back to, neighborhoods that have turnover, anything, any type of marketing that you're doing, you need to be talking about the buyer pool that you have, that is actively, looking or shopping, or maybe it's another agent's, buyer. But you need to make sure that you're having that conversation with people and letting them know that. Now, I'm the queen. Hear that? I'll own it. I'm the queen of making money and doing hardly nothing, okay? Something that I did with my business 5 years ago, and it's the best thing I ever did, is utilizing my database, my existing clients, my past clients, my sphere, and saying, wait a minute. This all happened during COVID, you all. I started noticing my friends, my clients, my past clients. I started noticing them all buying these destination properties. And I'm like, wait a minute. I want one of those too. Like, everybody's got a beach house. I want a beach house. So I started picking up the phone and I said, I saw Laura, buy a beach house. Are y'all thinking about buying a beach house? Well, yeah, we want one too. Because when somebody gets something, the rest of them want it too. Have you ever noticed that? Do you have a friend that all of it is a big circle? And when somebody gets it, the rest of them want it too? So when you start to look at those types of relationships and you start to have those conversations, and then you think about, okay, well, what the heck? How can I turn this into money for myself? Well, as I started to go outside of the US and look at global real estate and see how hard it is for agents, developers, builders to truly market their inventory. They don't have an MLS. They're not like us, you all. They really have a hard time getting their stuff, their awesome and amazing destination luxury property in front of. And I thought, okay, well, if I bring you people, will you pay me? Yes. Yes, they will. And so I say, okay, well, send me inventory and I'll send it out to my people, and you pay me referrals. And so there's a whole business out there, you all, if you just sit back and think about it. Think about all the people that I look at all the people that I've had conversations with, that I've closed deals with, that I haven't closed a deal with, but my goodness, we almost did, or whatever. And you start to send them, buy a home in Bahamas, buy a home in St. Kitts. Maybe you want to invest in short-term rental income in Dominican Republic. All these different ideas. And to be able to earn additional income off of that is huge. It's absolutely huge. And so there's so many ways to where it may not be one more sale, but it's one more commission check every month. And so then you think about, well, wait a minute, how can I make one more commission check every single month? And we always forget about our referral opportunities. We really do. There's so much more money in referrals than there are sometimes in the deal itself. There is, Rob, isn't there?
That's right.
I mean, it's crazy, but we spend so much time, and we're sitting here thinking about all the ways we market, the spend money, the branding, all of that. But what do we do to go back to utilizing our clients that we already have? You create this entire social media following to do what with? To shake your butt and have them watch it? I mean, but to do what with? Think of what can you put in front of them that will get them engaged into something else. So that's how I got into commercial real estate, was taking luxury people, luxury clients, and getting them to invest in commercial real estate, getting them to understand what a return on investment meant, right? Think of this. Imagine if you sell a $6.8 million property home, it rents for 37 weeks a year, $65,000 a week. What is that? 2.4 million? It costs 400,000 to operate the house, utilities, taxes, full-time cleaning, full-time chef. You use the rest of the weeks for yourself. It's over 2 months. So you make 2 million a year. That's better than any commercial real estate property in the United States. And that's in St. Kitts. And so those were the ads that I started to communicate to the database with. Telling a story, creating, you got to create the examples. You got to create the opportunity. It's not just a 5-bedroom, 3.5-bath home on the beach. It is a $2 million net income each and every year. Or however, whatever it is. Does that make sense, everyone? You know, think of how you go back to your database and how you market to them. And are you maximizing that database? All right, I'm going to stop blabbing, Rob, and see if we have any questions.
I've already taken 4 pages of notes.
There's so much more, you all. And I know there's people on this call that are like, oh, I got one. So please do share, because there's no wrong answers in this. I mean, there's just so many ways. I could come up with these all day long.
Who has a question for Stephanie on this?
They're speechless.
I've got one, but I'm waiting for somebody else to come up with one first. All right, I'll just tell you mine. So corporate, for where we work, has told us that if an agent is not heavily invested in working in AI over the next 18 to 24 months, they're going to be nearly out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see agents to develop their use of artificial intelligence in the real estate world?
You know,
Business.
so many. I use AI so much. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. It's almost like when we got email and fax machines were gone. It's like, wait a minute, we used fax machines, or we drove around and delivered. It's like, how did we ever not? How did we ever work without it? Right?
Yeah.
You know, I have my email is on Fixer, which EXP owns a part of. And so my email is, you know, when I receive an email, it gives me 2 options and I select which one I want to respond, but I don't have to write my email responses anymore. Sometimes I do need to do a modification, but for 90% of the time, I love what it wrote and I just hit this one and it sends. So it's saving time. It's saving time. Design, decks, you know, pitch decks. I'm in the world that I pitch. I pitch for business. I don't go on listing presentations. I pitch for people. And so I need pitch decks. And so AI can create decks that will blow your mind out. Okay. So I'm going to pull up something and I'm going to shock you all, because this is something that you've got to pay for these things, but you know, time is time. And you know, you think back to how much would you spend for the marketing efforts of this? Let me pull this up for us. All right. So right now I'm running an ad for why you should buy in the Dominican Republic. And in that ad, it says, download my free buyer's guide. Okay. All of this was made on AI.
Nice.
So I've got in here your guide to paradise, why the Dominican Republic, is the ultimate investment, and your guide to citizenship. Because everywhere you all, there's different processes in how you purchase real estate. Okay. And it has its own. So there's a note from me. They can book a free consultation. And then this goes through every bit of this was AI, you all. I proofread it, I checked it, but every bit of this was AI.
Nice. That's phenomenal.
Did you
And so
for this one?
this
Gamma? Do you use Gamma? I'm just learning to use it.
Gamma, yes.
Okay.
So, again, I don't know how we did business without it. I don't remember it anymore because it's like, oh my goodness. And so when you're coming up with this type of content, it's just amazing to me. And if I were able to go back in history, I've got a buyer's guide to every island under the sun. I've got a buyer's guide to every country. I've got a buyer's guide to everything. And so if we took that and put it on a very small scale, then you all should have buyer's guides to your subdivisions that you want to represent. You should walk into a listing with the buyer's guide to whatever subdivision that house is in and be the only agent that has that buyer's guide. Does
I
that make
love
sense?
that. That is perfect.
I mean, think about how nobody else would have that. And if you do it first and put your name on it, nobody else can take that idea from you. And if they do, well, the whole thing, they ripped it off and you did it first. And better yet, do it, put your name on it and send it out to everybody that lives in the neighborhood with your name and face all over it.
I love that.
Utilize why. Utilize why you deserve to be in that spectrum. I'm not a specialist in all these different places, you all, but if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see every week I do a webinar and I pick a different place in the world that I'm talking about for 10 to 15 minutes. And then I retain every bit of this. And so you can ask me about all kinds of places. And it's because I do my research, I do know, and then I've put these buyer's guides together and I'm reading them, and it's just blowing my mind. So, when everybody says that, AI will not replace the realtor, but the realtors that are using AI will replace you, yes, we will. We will.
Yep.
I mean, I can't even imagine if you're not using what I'm using and making a buyer's guide to Atlanta, a buyer's guide to wherever land, whatever, DC.
Mhm.
You all need them, and make them for your towns. The little towns or the little the subdivision itself. They don't need to be 25 pages. I did that for Dominican Republic, which is an entire country. So you don't need it to be 25 pages long. But the other thing that you use AI for is for language. I mean, everything Google Translate does a lot of things, but I'm using it for voice.
Say that again. Using it
So
for
so I have an avatar of Stephanie,
okay.
and she speaks in 175 languages
I love that.
because I only speak English.
Right?
You mean you speak Vietnamese now?
I do. Probably better than you. 'Cause it's
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. I promise you are better at that. I can
But
compete.
it's really, really cool because it's one of those things that, again, think about all the different things you can make and you can put together. I see all the time where on social media where agents are putting your Barbie dolls or whatever up, or they're making their superheroes on AI, and I'm thinking, okay, whatever. That's not going to make us money, people. Let's make some buyer's guide. Let's make some listing guides. Do you know who uses Lovable? Anybody use Lovable? Jonathan uses Lovable. Build a website for your listing before you go. We learned that in Dallas a couple weeks back.
You can actually build. You can use Gamma to do your buyer's guide, and they can build websites for you as well.
There you go. There you use
That you
Gamma.
can link the two together.
Yeah.
It's probably
And
20 app of the year 2025.
you can use Gamma to do your PowerPoints. You can use Gamma to do anything for slides. I mean, it's awesome. Your flyers, your brochures. I mean, I've never looked so good, you all.
Well, and we, as agents, we've got to get up on this because like you said, the agents that are fully engaged in AI going forward are going to take the business away.
It's right. I mean, and it's like I look at the again, some of this stuff costs money, but if you went out and paid somebody, a marketing firm, to create this, it'd be a lot more expensive than what this AI stuff is costing.
Sure.
Because Gamma's like, I'm paying, I think 400 and something a year. It's not that expensive.
Mhm.
$10 a month.
Yeah, there's one for $10 a month too.
Yeah.
Yes. I went over my limit when I started making all my buyer's guides. So mine's like 400 a year. Big whoop. Very cool.
And we can have Jonathan Plummer train us on this AI. He's like the master between him and Stephanie. Like they building the whole, everything on AI. And Stephanie, I'm looking at this thing where you can the machine will build homes now. It's like $500,000. Seriously, I'm looking into.
No. Crazy,
Wow, I
crazy.
got tons of notes off of today, guys.
I will put that paper that I made in the chat. It's a Google Doc. Everybody should have access to it. That way, in case you didn't take notes, you've got it. There's a lot of things we said that is not on that paper intentionally. I'm not good at typing out stuff. But again, there's so many ways to get business in this world. Just so many ways.
The key is doing something, taking action.
Doing it. Yeah, making your market. I mean, I love chasing people down. It's my favorite thing. And I mean, it's so easy.
That's right. Oh,
So easy.
well, this was awesome, Stephanie. Oh my gosh. Does anybody have any more questions for Stephanie before we let her go?
Back
So I
to
think what you just said. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
Well,
Rob, what you just said, the key is doing it and doing something. I think Stephanie puts out a lot of great stuff. She's obviously a boss. Stephanie, what is it that drives you that maybe there's agents on here that, for instance, have a team that are giving them leads, that's just begging them to do something with the leads? What is it that makes the difference from somebody like you to the agents that struggle getting stuff done each day?
Well, I mean, I think you decide in this world what kind of life you want, right? And I decided a long time ago, if I see it and I like it, I want it, and I'm going to go make sure no one else is in charge of my trajectory other than myself. And so that's what I keep doing, is making sure that I am constantly evolving right into what it is that I want to do. I mean, if somebody said to me 6 years ago, you're going to be selling global real estate, I would have never agreed with them. I wouldn't have even bet on myself. But I can do it. And I got spoiled. I think I got spoiled because 10 years ago, I averaged 50,000 miles a year on a car. Okay. And then through COVID, I put nothing on a car and learned that I can make more money sitting at a computer selling real estate than I can driving all over creation, and realized I don't like driving. I hate driving. So now I sell real estate through a computer on Zoom primarily. And make money that way. I've got a 2023 vehicle that has 6,112 miles on it. And I've got another vehicle that is 5 years old that has 4,000 miles on it. And that's all I drive anymore, you all. And I absolutely love it. And that was my decision. I don't like, I don't, I decided that I wanted business that I could pick and choose what it is that I do. And when somebody calls and complains or whines to me and they happen to be a client, they are no longer a client because I'm past that in my life. That's why.
I guess I would piggyback off that and say how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah. All the way. 200%.
Finding a way to motivate people, isn't that the classic holy grail?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, oh my gosh, this is great information, guys. We're going to post up Stephanie's information into the Why Grow Global site, so be sure to go there and do something. Take some of this information that you got today and do one or two things from that list. That's it. Don't try to do the whole list at one time or you'll get overwhelmed and not do anything. Do one or two things. You see something working, add another one. Take some action. We used to go to Tony Robbins events all the time, and he would say, just do something. Do one or two things out of this whole event that you got information from. Do one or two things out of it and see results. So fantastic information. Thank you so much, Stephanie. You're a
Thank you,
boss.
guys.
Oh my gosh. And hey, tune back in. We will let you know what's coming up next Monday for our Monday Mastermind, and bring guests. Bye, guys. Take care. Have a great week.
Bye, all.